Hey guys, Justin here. Welcome to Gateway. Couple notes, I screwed up my audio again and I just did not feel like redoing it all, so hopefully the audio is better next week. I'll make sure to check before. And then besides that, we're gonna do one lap that I think everybody can take away from that got a 0.56 and then a 0.50 for a lap that I think has a lot more difficult execution in it. So I didn't think if I included that it would be helpful for everyone. So I included the 0.56 as the main one here. But other than that, I think we should be good to go. So let's get right to it. We did a normal 3. Alright, let's take a look at that. So I'm going to be showing my lap that's a 56 here, and then my lap 3 and 4 for my lap that's a 50 even. The method that I used for 3 and 4 I just don't think is going to be useful really for you guys. So I'm going to show the full lap for the 56, but then kind of show you guys at the end how that I get that extra half a tenth in 3 and 4, because it's very difficult. So we're gonna start here with the out lap. So I start turning down right about at the end of this 5-hour energy between, so there's two 5-hour energies. I try to slow my car down to like almost 100 miles an hour, maybe a little faster than that. It's like 108 or so, 107, 106. Okay, so 106 miles an hour, anywhere between 100 and 110 will probably work. And then you turn down right as this 5-hour energy sign ends. And then you just full gas it and it'll turn down on its own, and you kind of shortcut the corner out and it'll straighten your exit, and that'll be how you carry the most speed possible. All right, so let's skip ahead to turn 1. So turn 1 is a very aggressive corner. So what we're going to be doing here is, at least on out lap, you want to, if you get your exit correctly in 4, you want to hit the chip once or twice and then get about half on the brake. So you see here, at first I stab the brake to a half, and then I bring down that stab almost immediately to a drag. So the stab works to slow the car down, and the drag works to turn the car down into the corner. So you see, first I'm carrying so much speed I need to stab it to slow the car, and then drag it to enter the corner. Because as you see here, my trajectory is sending me straight into the wall currently. And you don't want to use much wheel because you're really going fast here. So you're going to have to rely on that brake drag. So where we're going to aim is left sides anywhere between this seam and a little bit below it. If you get your lefts anywhere in this range right here, you should be good to go. So you carry that drag all the way through going below the seam, and you keep the drag, and then you go straight to gas. No rolling time in between brake and drag. This will take some, brake and gas. This will take some practice to find the exact timing, but if you do this correctly, you go from a brake drag straight into the gas. And I start testing the gas, not full yet. I don't go full until I'm able to see the straightaway. So we're carrying about 3/4. We start unloading the car. You see me unturning the wheel. And then once I feel like my car is straight enough, we go to full throttle. So you see the timing there. I go full throttle pretty much as I'm unloading the wheel. So huge turn, full throttle as I'm unloading the wheel. And the car will get loose. You see I'm losing a bit of ground here. That's because I took a pretty aggressive entry. If you enter the corner a little less aggressive, then you have the potential to carry more speed through it, and that's when you would gain that time. All right, so now for 3 and 4, I'm going to show you first the safe method, quote unquote. So the safe method is going to be to just go down to the white line as soon as possible, almost getting your lefts on the curb. You're going to aim for your lefts to almost be on this curb right here. Not quite touching it because that'll upset it a little bit, but as close as possible. And you see we're carrying a little bit smaller of a brake drag here. So we're dragging, and then once we settle into the corner, so if you consider entry, we're kind of making our way into the corner. We drag, we drag, we drag. Once you feel like the car doesn't need any more turn, then you pick up the throttle from the brake immediately again. And this serves to get the car on its right rear. If you can go straight from brake to gas and not let the car reload into the right front, then you'll start driving off the rear. So we carry that throttle about 1/2 to 2/3. And it's going to get loose, and we just kind of carry it around the bottom, just follow the curb. And then as you start sliding off the corner, that's when you start applying full throttle. This looks very difficult at first, and it gets very loose off the corner, but I find this to be the more manageable and repeatable lap. In my qualifying for the race, I kind of just went for it all, and I think the cold track temperature kind of allowed me to get a better time than what I was getting. And so I kind of got lucky in that sense. But I think for you guys, mostly if you want a safe line for 3 and 4, just get right down to the curb, go straight from a brake drag to a gas, and kind of just hold it. Let the car get loose, modulate your wheel and the throttle so that you don't spin out. And then once you get past the curb, you go straight onto the throttle, full throttle. So you see, I'm not full throttle yet. Right before the end of the curb, I can get to the full throttle, and the car with its loose condition will kind of drive straight off the corner with a little bit of angle, and you just have to hold it. All right, now let's look at a more aggressive 3 and 4. So getting to 3 and 4, instead of going to the white line, I'm going to start in the second lane and start trying to drive down the hill with the same brake drag as before. If we get this correctly, this brake drag will allow us to carry more speed as we were taking a wider, broader angle into the corner, as if we were wrapping it around the apron. Excuse me. All right. So we get that drag a little bit more than you were seeing on the curb. So you see, instead of being right on the curb, I'm now about 1/2 a lane up on the curb and still driving towards it. So now the goal is to pick up the throttle on an apex so that when we pick up the throttle, it's right when we almost touch the curb. And this is very, very precise. It's not easy. So I pick up the throttle because I see if I pick up the throttle, I'm going to go straight. I'm going to go straight through this curb pretty much. So you pick up the throttle pretty much full, and then you start modulating to try to get it to work. And now you'll see that I'm able to pick up the throttle a lot earlier. You see that? So I'm full throttle well before the curb ends in this scenario. And I can do that because the angle that I took allowed me to gain a better angle off the corner. And it gets even more loose here, and you have to just fight the car, but the big key to this corner is to not make sure that your rear tires kick out. Your rear tires can do whatever they want as long as they are fully contacted with the ground. And you see we get the good drive off and a very solid 3 and 4. Alright, so the race just ended and we are very disappointed here. We led 33 of 35 laps and one too many execution errors, and we let Larry past us. But it was a very good race. It might have been the hardest I've ever driven in any race. So we'll take a look at some strategies. So as opposed to the qualifying lap, I'm going to be shifting. And I found out right before the race that I wanted to be shifting pretty much the entire race in 1 and 2. So we're going to lap 2 here because that's when it starts. And I wasn't sure about this at first, but what drove me over the edge for 1 and 2 was that my car would get tight coming out of the corner on throttle without shifting, and with shifting, I would get loose coming out of the corner. And with Arca, you really always want to keep the car on the right rear whenever possible. So over the long run, this is pretty neutral on tires. I was going pretty hard. I was saving a little bit, but it didn't really end up mattering too much. Just the shifting technique and being able to execute it, it's very, very difficult, but it pays off. So let's take a look from the cockpit what shifting is going to look like here. So I get brake stab at 50%, bring it down to a drag to enter the corner, get my lefts either on or just below the seam. And you see that little, so this is all you need to do to shift. Just my throttle must be at 10% there. All you gotta do is stay in the brake, blip the throttle at 10%, and do your shift down. That'll kick your car into third gear, and then I instantly pick up the throttle to half. I'm trying to tease more and more into it, and then once I'm able to see a straight line out of the corner, so you see right here, I can't see the exit yet, so I'm still not fully committed. But once I see that I can see the whole straightaway, then I commit to it. And it's gonna get loose. And the best time to shift is right before you hit the chip, and this is what ultimately cost me. I'll show you in a little bit. So now let's go over a couple things that can go wrong when you're shifting, because this is ultimately where I threw away the race. So this is probably a lap where I messed up. Let's see how I messed up. So you see, I missed my initial shift here. I just didn't get throttle in it when I tried to shift down. And because of that, my car goes sliding up. I'm just have too much wheel in it. And then I never get the shift in until there. And by the time it's too late, there's no momentum to be had here. There's no good angle off of the corner. You're not cutting the exit. You're not getting on the right rear. And look at the difference. So you see, he makes it. And Larry's not shifting it here. So shifting, you can do from the beginning, but you also can wait until about halfway in the run. It's all about how comfortable you are shifting. So if you're like, oh man, the shifting thing is kind of nuts, then I would start shifting halfway through the race, maybe lap 15-ish. But if you really like shifting, if it feels comfortable to you, I recommend doing it the whole race. But it's just little execution errors like this that'll end up costing you time. So you got to make sure not to make mistakes, which is easier said than done. Let's see another mistake here. See, I had my right, I was so clenched on the wheel that I accidentally shifted right back into fourth after shifting into third. And, oh, that's a disaster. That's a disaster. So, that's what happens too. And then finally, me and Larry were battling, but the gap was between 0.2 and 0.6 for the last 20 laps. And with 2 to go, I just made the most costly error that you could. It's a decent shift. I'm driving it out. It looks pretty good. I hit the chip. And this is everything. Your run that you basically put all of your chips into, no pun intended, you put all your chips into this run off the corner that you get from third gear. And if you hit that chip, it's gone. So you gave away everything for nothing. And you can see I was poised to gap Larry by another car length here. And I just missed the shift. And put me in a vulnerable position. And he was shifting at 3 and 4 too, which is something that I had not considered yet. So I guess moral of the story is you can also shift in 3 and 4. I was not shifting in 3 and 4. I can see where I would need that now. I'd want that turn back to the bottom. So shifting in 3 and 4 could be viable late run. And he's able to get more rotation under me. Really patient on it. He's able to clear me. And that was the race. It was a really good race. I think I can improve a lot on it, really clean up some mistakes, and I think you guys can use this as a building block, and we'll see if we can do better in more races to come. Thanks for watching. Again, sorry about the audio. Just realized I unplugged my mic for almost that entire time, so great job, me. But make sure to sign up for the Aether Inhalers Clash for this Saturday if you haven't yet. We still need a couple more signups to round out the field. I'd love to see you all there. So the form will be in the description below, and then you'll be signed up for free and with a chance to win up to $100 from the $200 total prize pool. All right, I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I'll see you on the track.